Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here. Today, we're exploring this incredibly fascinating intersection where the absolute cutting edge of modern science meets the timeless, ancient philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. As you'll see, unearthing the fundamental nature of the universe actually hands us a super practical, everyday toolkit for finding real peace and excelling in our daily lives.
Okay, let's dive into this mind-bending premise. How is it literally possible that ancient mystics, sitting in deep meditation thousands of years ago, and modern physicists running multi-billion-dollar particle accelerators today somehow arrived at the exact same conclusion about the nature of reality? No way, right? But they did.
So, what does this all mean? Well, to figure that out, we have to look at how both sides define the physical world. Take modern physics, specifically Einstein's famous E equals mc squared. This proved that matter and energy are completely interconvertible. Modern quantum field theory takes this even further, telling us particles are really just temporary excitations of underlying fields. Now look at the Bhagavad Gita's concept of prakriti. This is the idea that all forms, from giant stars to tiny pebbles, are just temporary manifestations of one underlying substance. They both perfectly align to tell us that the solid objects around us, the solidity is basically an illusion. Everything is just a temporary energy pattern.
Section 1. The Cosmic Energy Mirror. Let's look at how this grand, abstract concept plays out on a universal scale. Chapter 15, verse 13 of the Gita says, "Permeating the earth, I support all beings by my energy. I nourish all herbs." When you really listen to that verse, you realize it's describing a sustaining universal force, a force that holds the entire cosmos together and fuels all life. It acts exactly like the fundamental quantum fields recognized by science today. And that brings us to the definition of prakriti. It's the fundamental material nature, or matter-energy matrix of the universe. There's no fundamental stuff out there, no permanent building blocks at the bottom of it all. Instead, there's just this underlying dynamic energy taking different shapes. It manifests and eventually it dissolves. It's like a giant cosmic dance of energy transforming into matter, and matter turning right back into energy.
And honestly, the parallels don't just stop at matter and energy. In quantum physics, the act of observation fundamentally changes the reality being observed, right? The classic observer versus the observed. Well, the Gita describes this exact same dynamic. It calls it the knower of the field, which is pure consciousness, interacting with the field, which is observable reality. Both disciplines firmly, and I mean absolutely firmly, recognize that consciousness and reality are intimately connected.
Let's move to section 2, one interconnected universal life, and see how this builds.
We've looked at the vast cosmic scale of physics, so let's zoom in on the biological scale of life right here on Earth. To really grasp the shift, ancient texts offer us this beautiful botanical experiment from the Chandogya Upanishad. It's a perfect illustration of how this universal energy manifests as what we experience as life in living things.
It's a fascinating dialogue between a guru and a student. The guru asks the student, "Where is the life in this plant?" The student replies, "It's everywhere." So the guru has the student cut a leaf and asks again. Well, the life has withdrawn from the damaged part. But the profound lesson happens when the plant eventually dies. Where does that life go? The guru explains that the life merely merges back into the rest of the universe. You see, life isn't created or destroyed. It simply manifests when the physical conditions are right, and it withdraws when they aren't. There's only one continuous life energy flowing through the entire universe. Section 3, the illusion of individuality. Knowing that there's only one universal energy moving through everything, we really have to stop and reconsider our own physical boundaries. Let's bring this to life. Think about an apple. The apple sitting on your table today is part of the outside world, right? Tomorrow, you eat it, and it literally becomes your body, the inside world. A day later, parts of it are expelled right back into the environment. Your body's in a constant, never-ending state of material exchange with the rest of the universe, kind of like the ship of Theseus paradox. So the whole idea that you have a strict, permanent physical boundary, it's a total mental illusion. You literally are the universe. But let's pause for a second. Let's get real. If we're all just these beautiful, interconnected, temporary manifestations of one infinite universal energy, why does it hurt so much sometimes? Why do we suffer from anxiety? Why do we have crippling doubt, stress, and midlife crises? This cosmic unity sounds great in theory, but man, our daily human struggles feel incredibly, painfully real. Section 4. Resolving the modern crisis. And here is where it gets highly practical. You see, psychological crises, like the classic midlife crisis, hit us when we depend entirely on the external world for our security and pleasure. But because the external world is constantly changing, because it's just temporary energy, we get violently tossed around. To find real peace, we have to consciously shift away from that worldly dependence and move toward true inner independence. The Gita actually gives us the perfect mechanism for this shift: karma yoga. When you depend on the world, you're at the mercy of life's ups and downs. But karma yoga is the practice of finding equanimity, a truly balanced mind, by performing your duties and serving others without being fiercely attached to the results. You do your best, and then you just let go of the outcome. You stop demanding that this ever-changing universe bend to your specific desires. Section 5, Frameworks for Lasting Peace. To actually practice this, we need actionable tools. The texts essentially give us a rapid-fire checklist for clearing out the sheer mess of our daily minds, and it sounds surprisingly modern. First, manage your daily distractions. Using modern productivity systems like Getting Things Done is totally valid to clear up your calendar clutter. Second, forgive yourself for past mistakes. You acted in ignorance back then, and that's okay. Third, forgive others using logical empathy. And fourth, to truly find peace, you have to temporarily suspend your worldly roles. Just put aside being an employee or a parent for a moment. So the crucial point here is how we handle that third step, forgiving others. The texts beautifully align with a concept we call Hanlon's razor. It's the principle of recognizing that when someone wronged you, they likely did what they thought was right or necessary from their limited perspective at that specific time. Bridging your intellect with empathy like this, it's literally the ultimate hack for letting go of those heavy, exhausting grudges we all carry. And that leads directly into Yeta Chitta Adma, mastering relational and emotional solitude. We play so many roles every single day, but to find lasting peace, you must consciously step out of those roles. You have to create a mental sanctuary, completely free from past regrets and future anxieties, where you just exist as a piece of that universal consciousness. Once you do this, you realize something so comforting. Everything in this world is operating by the grand design of that universal energy we talked about at the beginning. The law of karma, cause and effect, is perfectly in place, so logically there is absolutely no need to fear the future. If you are doing your duty right now, you will get what you deserve. The universe is taking care of the rest. Which brings us to our final thought. We started with quantum physics and E=mc², and we've landed on the deepest psychological piece. If your very body, your very mind, are quite literally made of the universe's infinite, eternal energy, what self-imposed limits, what fears, what anxieties are you willing to let go of today? Think about that as you go through your week. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible cosmic mirror.